Good morning. It is Monday, June 24th. We got a lot of work to get to today. Let's get into it. Alright. Like I said, we got a lot to get into today. Lots and lots to get into. But as long as we stay focused, as long as we stay on top of things, we should be good. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So, good morning. I hope you guys are having a great morning. I hope you're going to get your week off started correctly. Hope you're going to get your week started off right. You got everything planned out. Hope you have everything on a schedule, ready to go. And just be prepared for a very productive week. If you're new to the channel, I do a lot of daily vlogs and things like that for my life, building a business, specifically my videography business, graphic sauce media, while I juggle life as far as home life, a 40-hour work week job, 2 kids in a house, all that stuff, and all the stuff that goes with it. And really what this vlog is about is kind of demonstrating and documenting, the ups and downs and how to kind of handle certain situations that arise, and also on the business side of things, what are some best practices that I've found to help further my business, what are things that I've tried, and sometimes even in real time things that I've tried. So yeah, it's kind of a journey, not a lot of editing, not a lot of flash or anything like that, really just kind of my story, me, and the camera. So the topic today that I wanted to talk about really wasn't pre-planned, but this morning when I woke up, I kind of had like a little minor panic attack, which I get from time to time when when I have a lot of things on my plate, and I was like, what, let's talk about that in a vlog. Let's bring that up, because there's a lot of things that when you're starting your own business and you're still working full time and you're kind of juggling a lot of things at once, this comes up from time to time. And how do you handle it? How do you cope with it? How do you overcome it? So, so the short version of it, I'm late to delivering a promised wedding. It's the first one that I've had. It's the first one that I've done, or this is the first time I've been late to delivering a wedding. I contacted the bride last week and said, I'm still in the middle of edits and things like that. I'm currently working on yours, kind of giving her like a heads up or whatnot. And just kind of fell off my rate. It didn't really fall off my rate. Just time kind of really what happened is time just kind of came up too short, right? And that's kind of the result of poor planning, but also distractions, and taking on too much as far as work and life is concerned. Pretty much what it boils down to is poor planning. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit and see, kind of where we're at. So one of the so for the videographers out there who are taking on clients and taking on work and things like that, I specifically am a wedding videographer, so all my films usually take place on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. 90% of the time it's Saturday, and then I would say the other 10% is split between Friday and Saturday, or Friday and Sunday. So knowing that my workflow, pretty much starts Saturday, right? Saturday morning, 9 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever, that's when my day starts. And when I have one of those weddings, I need to have a certain plan set in place to what happens when and how to follow through and how long that stuff's going to take. So one of the first things you should do when you're a videographer is save the data, right? So you shoot the data, don't let it sit on the memory cards, right? You're just asking for trouble. Memory cards can get lost, they get broken, they can become corrupted. They're not meant to hold data long term. It's just not the way it is. Like, the SanDisk ones, they're just not meant to do that. It's just not what they're for. So kind of taking that as the example, and I'm not going to go through my entire process, I just want to use this as an example, right? So how long does it take to do that, right? How long does it take to move your documents and your film or whatever you're doing from your camera to your computer? And then also along with that, how long does it take to back up? Because you have to have these backup processes, right? So not only do you want it on your computer, but you also want it somewhere where if like your computer were to fail, you have a backup to fall back on. So how long does that take to transfer? How many times are you backing up? Are you backing up online, or are you backing up to a local disk that sits next to your computer? I would recommend as soon as humanly possible getting some type of cloud-based solution. Only because if there were something to happen at your house or where your computer is, and you have your computer right next to your hard drive, let's say there's a fire. The fact that both of your backups are right next to each other in the same location won't save anything if there's a fire. So I would recommend, some type of storage solution that's not off-site. And people might say, oh, well, that could get really expensive because I use 600 gigabytes of data for each wedding. Get that, I understand that. But I would say only while you're editing should those files be backed up, right? And if you stay on top of it, right, so you back everything up to this cloud-based service, you finish editing the actual ceremony and the whole thing, you finish the project, upload the final product to your cloud-based service, now delete the cloud-based service that's holding your raw footage. There's no reason to keep that in the cloud. You can keep that on your hard drive locally. But at any rate, how long does it take to do all that, right? There needs to be some type of timestamp and at least some type of understanding of how long that's going to take. So, and the same is true for everything, right? How long do you want to give yourself to edit? How long does it take you to cull through all the clips, right? And I know that can vary from wedding to wedding depending on how long the wedding is, how in depth and how detailed the wedding is, and things like that. I know the length of the wedding or film or project can vary, but you can still put some type of timestamp on it, right? Like, it's going to take me I'm going to give myself 2 days to cull through all these clips, right? On average, it should take me 2 days, right? That'll give me enough time to go through it once and then go through it a second time and make sure I got the best of the best. So what happened is, time got the best of me, and you throw in a distraction here or there, and you throw in a couple extra projects around the house, and before you know it, it's 7:30 at night, and you haven't even finished your project yet. Which normally 7:30, you still have plenty of time. You still have a good 4 hours, or at least I would have a good 4 hours to edit still before having to absolutely fall asleep to wake up the next day refreshed and ready to go. So, but it just so happened, and that's kind of what my plan was, going into Sunday. It's like, okay, well, I know I've got this edit to finish. However, there's this project at home that I really want to get started and get working on for the family. It's not a personal project, it's more of a family project. You know what? It says it's going to take 4 to 6 hours to build. You know, obviously I've got to put in a little bit of time because it's just me working on it, and I've got to go get supplies of material, so we'll say maybe like 8 hours. So I was like, okay, so 8 hours, start at, let's see here, we'll start at 9 o'clock in the morning. You figure that'll take you all the way till 5 or 6, maybe 7 o'clock, depending on travel, breaks, lunch, dinner, things like that. And I was like, okay, that'll give me, plenty of time, about 4 hours, 5 hours at night to work on edits. And, little did I know, when I got, and I didn't even complete the project, it's still sitting in the backyard, but little did I know that I would be so exhausted that just merely sitting down on the couch would put me to sleep, right? So there's no way, and by putting me to sleep, I mean, basically hard, drowsiness, muscle fatigue, having a difficult time concentrating, and let alone operating a computer and, putting together a wedding film. So, and I didn't expect to be that exhausted. Like, it was kind of surreal. So what do you do now, right? If you haven't been there, great, fantastic. I applaud you, for making sure all your films are delivered on time and things like that. So I'm roughly 3 weeks out from the wedding that I filmed. That's late. So what does that mean? What's the next steps, right? Well, it's Monday morning at 7:30. The bride's gonna wake up. Obviously, the film's not gonna, the email confirmation's not gonna be in her email, in her inbox. So one of the first things that you need to do is you need to contact the bride, right? In most cases, I would say an email is probably sufficient, but if you want to kind of go above and beyond, a phone call. A phone call is probably what you want to do, right? Especially, and this is kind of important, especially if your last correspondence was via email or text message or whatever, right? If you told her, like, hey, I'm currently working on it, it should be ready by the end of the week, like I did. If that was the text message conversation or an email conversation, then pretty much the it's late has got to be a phone call. What do you say in that phone call? Do you disclose what you did, what you did and why it's late, or do you disclose, when you feel it's going to be done? And that's kind of up to you. It's kind of up to you and how your relationship with that particular person is. If it's a complete stranger, I probably wouldn't get too far. I probably wouldn't get too caught up in the details or caught up in the weeds as far as what went wrong or why the film isn't completed. A simple, I lost track of time, and the estimate that I gave you just wasn't able to be completed. I'm currently, this far into it, give a percentage. I'm currently 45, 75, whatever percentage of the way done with it. Unfortunately, I don't have anything to send to you right this second. Nothing is at that completion stage yet, but I'm looking to get it completed as soon as possible. So this is the next step that's very, very important. Do you give them a time for an estimated completion, right? You already gave them one time and missed it, right? But do you give them another time? So, like, today as of today, I'm 3 weeks and 1 day out from your wedding, right? It's gonna take me another week to finish. Should you do that? I say no. What I say is tell them the percentage of the way that you're done. You know what? I am 85% of the way done with all of your films. Nothing's actually completed yet. The reason why I say that is because if you say I'm 85% of the way done, the next question might be, oh, well, do you have something you can send us, right? And that kind of puts a halt to that type of question, because you're just going to shut them down. So at the end of the day, I'm 85% of the way done. Unfortunately, none of the films are 100% finished yet, or at a completion stage where I can send you them. But I'm looking to get them finished as soon as possible and get them in your inbox. Leave it at that and see what they say. Now, if she comes back and says, you know what, that's great, sounds good, I know you're busy, I'm glad you're working on it, thank you so much for calling, keep me posted, right? Perfect. That's the key response that you're looking for. However, if they say, you know what, I'm really kind of upset that I'm upset that it's not, you gave me a date, it's not here, what can we do to rectify this? Okay, Mrs. So-and-so, like I said, I sincerely do apologize. Time got the best of me. I unfortunately didn't have, gave you an estimated date that I wasn't able to meet. I do apologize for that. Let me go ahead and get you, I'm going to finish up some edits tonight. Let me get you something tonight, right? Let me get you something by the middle, give yourself like 48 hours, right? If you give yourself 48 hours to, tell you what, let me look at the project. In this case, let me look at the project, and in my case, I give away the ceremony, I give away kind of like a trailer / highlight reel, and I give away a teaser, like a 1-minute teaser, right? Let me tell you what, let me look. Most of the time, the teaser is usually the first thing that's finished. Let me go ahead and take a look and see how far away I am from completing that, and let me see if I can get that to you in the next 48 hours. And then I'll continue working on and getting the rest of your films completed and getting to those to you as soon as possible. How does that sound? Okay, that sounds great, right? At least you're giving them something, within the next 2 days to kind of appease them. Now, should you give some type of refund, right? That all depends on a couple different things, right? First of all, is it in your contract that you're going to deliver the wedding film or the final project in a certain time? If that is, then you might consider giving like a 10% or a 15% refund or whatever. I don't think I would jump right to that. Obviously, that's something I would say if your customer asks for it, then I would probably just to try to save face and keep the relationship that you've got going in that positive manner. If it's not in your contract, which in mine it's not, mine's more of a verbal type of confirmation. Oh yeah, I should usually have it between 3 and 4 weeks type of thing. Then I don't typically give any type of refund. At least I haven't yet, so we'll see if that changes. But I really try to steer the conversation away from that and really more towards giving them the final product, right? Because they don't want 10% of their, at the end of the day, the client doesn't want their money back, right? They don't want part of their money back. They want their wedding film, right? And if you can appease them, and if you can, get that to them, then I think in most cases that will extinguish any type of doubt or any type of issues that are looming, essentially. So, is a refund necessary? I don't believe so. I think they more or less want their final product. And if you can give them something now to kind of hold them over until the final product is done, more power to you. So yeah, guys, so that's kind of what and this is an important step, right? Because it's going to happen. You're going to, whether you've got the best system in place, something is going to happen where you're going to run long on a project, and it's going to impact, the delivery date, from the time you've estimated it. So we're on our way to work. So we're about 15 minutes out. So let's go ahead and get this day started, get this week started, and we'll see you guys after work. 4:30, and wouldn't you know it, all day today, I sit by a window. My desk is right beside a giant window. All day. Gorgeous. Not a cloud in the sky. Sunny. Little, nice little breeze. It's a nice, like, summer / spring day, right? Not too hot, but, nice enough outside where you can complete some stuff outside, have some fun outside. Stuck in the office all day looking at that. 4:30 rolls around. Actually, no, it's probably, I apologize, it's probably like 4:20 because we can leave at 4:25. About 4:20, 4:23, clouds roll in and downpour. So yeah. So anyway, I guess it's probably a good thing because we're talking today about, like, it kind of fits in the, this kind of fits in the theme of today, right? It's making sure that you get your work done and that you avoid all distractions, because God knows that if I would have gone home and it would have been, continued as it was all day, I probably wouldn't have got as much work done on my on the wedding films that I need to today. So maybe I should be thankful that it's all, just sudden downpour. So anyway, we're gonna ride home. We've actually got a client phone call at 5 o'clock, so it's gonna be kind of pushing it to determine whether or not we make it home and get into the office and take the call, or just sit in the car and take the call. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, let's get home. Let's get ready for this phone call, and hopefully we can win over this business. And then get to editing.